Video 21.2, Deldevez analysis of Fenaroli. Deldevez published an edition of Fenaroli, and he realized many of the partimenti. Here, for example, is a simple partimento meant to show how to resolve 4-3 suspensions. He shows a completely written out right-hand part in the 3 positions. That is, positions 1, 2, and 3 have tones 1, 3, and 5 at the top of the first chord. For Fenaroli books 1, 2, and 3, the student can rely on the figures. When you get to Fenaroli book 4, the figures are gone. So one needs to analyze the bass. This is Deldevez's analysis of the first partimento from book 4 of Fenaroli. He begins at the top of this figure by identifying phrases, various schemas and cadences. So it says a 4-measure phrase in G major, followed by a cadence, a passage, and then a new phrase in D major. Within each phrase, one should first deduce a simplified bass. And that would be with consonances only. That includes the 7th of a dominant chord, and with added dissonances, so that could be suspensions, passing tones, etc. So then one begins to add back in the elaborations in order to create a definitive figuring. So there are the resolutions of dissonances like suspensions. That creates a working draft, and from there you can proceed to a definitive figuring. And the definitive figuring then becomes the basis for the realization. Here is Deldevez's own realization of this first part of the partimento compared to Guarnacha's. Guarnacha was probably in a direct line to Fenaroli. Guarnacha published a number of realizations in the mid-19th century. Fenaroli had died in the early 19th century, but perhaps Guarnacha had been a student or a student of a student, or published someone else's realizations, but nonetheless they were probably in a direct line to Fenaroli. Deldevez, by comparison, are more chordal. We have simple chords and the simple resolutions of dissonances. Note also that in the 1, 2, 3, 4th measure, there's no sign that we've modulated yet. Only in the last measure shown does a C sharp appear. In Guarnacha's realization, by contrast, it's in the 4th measure that the C sharp appears. So for Guarnacha, the 4th measure is a modulation. And in fact, it's a kind of modulating printer or a double cadence. So let's listen to them both. Whereas Deldevez is very much like a student exercise, Guarnacha's is closer to an actual composition. Guarnacha's is more melodic and active, and he modulates the G sooner. This is where it's definitive in Deldevez that we've modulated, where in Guarnacha it's earlier.